Hey, what's up guys? I'm bvsveera, and in today's video we're going to talk about Apple. Now, I'm sure that by the time I upload this video, every YouTuber and their dog will have talked about Apple's September event that happened just a couple hours ago, but regardless, I wanted to provide my take. Now, given that there are such huge announcements at these events by Apple, it's really hard to provide a summary of these events, but I'm going to give it a shot. And without further ado, let's get into talking about Apple's September event. So I think the best way to talk about Apple's September event is to break it down into three major points: new iPhones, Apple Pay, and the Apple Watch. So let's talk about the first point. At this September event, Apple announced two new iPhone models, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. Now, the specs are almost identical, and the real major differentiator between these two is the screen size. So the iPhone 6 has got a 4.7-inch screen, and the iPhone 6 Plus has a 5.5-inch screen. Now, I know the resolution of the iPhone 6 Plus is 1080p, so that's 1920 by 1080, and I can't exactly remember what the resolution of the iPhone 6 is, but it maintains the same PPI, which is pixels per inch, as it did with the previous Retina iPhones, which I believe was 326 ppi, whereas the new iPhone 6 Plus has pixels per inch of 401. Now, as I said before, the specs are almost identical between the two iPhones. They both have the A8 processor, they have the M8 co-processor, they both have the new barometers which can track how many flights of steps you've gone up and down throughout the day. And I think one of the other minor differentiators between the two is the camera. So as far as I know, you can now shoot at either 30 or 60 frames per second. And the reason why I want to talk about the camera is obviously being a regular video creator. Things about cameras really interest me. So now with the cameras on the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus, you can shoot at either 30 or 60 frames per second, and the slow-mo has been improved as well. So on last year's iPhone 5S, you could record slow-mo video at 120 frames per second. This year, you can now shoot at 120 FPS or 240 FPS. So that means you can get a lot slower footage, and I think that people find some really creative uses for that, so I can't wait to see the results of that. And on top of that, the iPhone 6 Plus features optical image stabilization, which means it uses the gyroscope to cancel out any shakiness while you're recording video. Now, I think that is really cool because previous iPhone models and the iPhone 6 only do digital image stabilization, which is okay, but obviously it could not be as good as optical image stabilization. And the last thing that has me really excited for the new iPhone 6 cameras is the fact that they use focus pixels to do phase detection autofocus. Now, that may have sounded like complete sci-fi garbage, and I'll be honest, until a few days ago, I had no idea what any of that meant. So I'll try and break it down for you. On the new iPhone 6 camera sensors, there are pairs of pixels that are called focus pixels, which means they are dedicated to determining the correct focus for a photo or video. And to try not to get too technical, they basically, when used together, these pairs can determine whether or not an image is in focus or not. And the fact that they've used focus pixels in the iPhone 6 sensor, camera sensor, is really amazing because I've only heard of that technology being used in DSLRs, such as the one that I'm using to record this video. So the fact that they've been able to include that in a phone is really interesting to me, and the benefits of that are that compared to traditional methods of focusing, which I believe work on contrast, using phase detection means that the autofocus on the new iPhone 6s will be incredibly fast, and when you're recording video will almost always mean that whatever you're recording, the subject of whatever you're recording will always stay in focus. Now, there are some other extras to the new iPhone 6s, such as the change of the design, however much they thinned the body by, Touch ID is still there, which is great. Really, if you want to know every single detail, do what I did and just watch the keynote that is on Apple's website. So I'll have a link to that in the description below to do that. And check it out, because I know while they were live streaming, they did have a lot of issues, and being in Australia, the live stream would have happened at 3 AM in the morning, so I didn't watch the live stream. But the recorded video is now up on their website, so go ahead and check that if you want to get every single detail about the new iPhone. So moving on from the iPhones, we are going to now talk about major point number 2, which is Apple Pay. And to summarize Apple Pay, it is essentially Apple's new contactless payments system. What they're trying to do essentially is kill off the wallet and credit cards in general. Now, I know that that is a very ambitious task, seeing as that would mean that merchants need to adopt new technologies, in this case NFC. And to be honest, in terms of NFC adoption, I have only ever seen one person use their Galaxy Nexus to make a transaction over NFC. So I think the usefulness of Apple Pay will be revealed over time as more merchants start accepting NFC. This does mean that the iPhone finally supports NFC, which I think is a fantastic addition, because it would require a lot of new hardware to make it work over Bluetooth Low Energy. So it's great to see that Apple have adopted NFC for Apple Pay. So the way Apple Pay works is that it's all integrated into Passbook. So what you would do is you open up the Passbook app on your device, scan your credit card using the iSight camera, and then use the NFC chip to make payments in a secure fashion. So again, if you want to know more about the specifics of Apple Pay, watch the keynote, and again, I will have that link in the description. So to move on to my third major point, we have the Apple Watch, which is Apple's first entry into the wearable space. And I think it's actually quite nice, because it differentiates itself very well from Android Wear. Where Android Wear is meant to be kind of bringing Google Now onto your wrist, the Apple Watch is essentially, from what I can tell, bringing the phone experience onto your watch, in the sense that it extends your phone and can do things like, for example, get the weather from your phone, check the messages from your phone, and so on and so forth. But the the Apple Watch does have some interesting new features of its own, and I think the one that really got to me was the new digital touch feature. Now, the way that works is that it connects two iWatches together, one being your own and the other being a contact of yours, say for example a friend or close partner, and allows you to do things like send little drawings to each other, and even do things just by like tapping on your watch and then having them experience that same tap sensation. And I think it's just little additions like those that make the Apple Watch a very interesting product. So in short, I think it'll be really interesting to see what developers do to take advantage of the WatchKit SDK, and to see where Apple takes the iWatch in the future. So guys, there you have it. That is my summary of Apple's 2-hour-long special September event. Now, there were some other things, such as YouTube releasing a new album free to everyone that has an Apple ID, so you can go ahead and check that out. And again, I will have a link to the keynote in the description below, and probably to some of the new product pages for the iPhone 6 models and the iWatch. Now, moving on from Apple's September event, I know that my YouTube upload schedule has been very haphazard, and the main reason for that is because I've got a couple big changes coming up, and just wanted to let you know that I have the iOS 8 GM installed on my phone, and I am syncing it as we speak. So I plan to record some iOS 8 content. So if you're looking forward to seeing that, make sure you subscribe, because I will have that content up soon, hopefully. So on that note, I guess I will end today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I know that there will have been a lot of coverage of Apple's event by everyone by the time I get this video uploaded, so I really appreciate that you took the time to watch this summary video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to click the like button down below, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.